Now, see, there's the infamous library background. I'm just so happy to be a part of it. I saw you posted that the other day. That's the best background I've ever seen, man.
What are you talking about? These are vintage books going back to the 15th century.
I know there's some class. The Oxford Book of English Verse is back there somewhere. I think I see.
That's right.
Oh well, right. It's great to have you, man. This has been a busy time. You've been doing tons of interviews. I know that because every time I turn around, there's a new blabbermouth headline for you. So hey, I mean, you're getting out there, man. There's a lot going on.
Yeah, but this is the beginning of the third week. I've been doing 4 a day now. This is the beginning, as I said, beginning of third week. So that's a lot of interviews, and I'm fine with it. Bring them on because we're just talking about my favorite subject, this record, and it's getting back in the saddle and getting back to work, getting back to business, and it's a lot to talk about.
Yeah, it is. And Checkered Past is the album. It comes out November 12th here, just in a couple weeks. So a lot of excitement there. This album, Phil, it just seems to be kind of moving in a different direction musically. I mean, I'm so impressed. It seems to be a little bit more bluesy, a little dirtier than some of the albums that you've done in the past. You think back to, The Missing Piece, The Devil Made Me Do It. This one seems to be a bit of a departure. Was there kind of a conscious effort to kind of make this one a little different, a little more kind of almost classic rock sounding, a little more introspective, if you will?
Well, the first one, The Missing Piece, the music had been floating around for years before the reunion. So it kind of had its own vibe. Whereas this one is basically, we wrote it in about 3 weeks. It took Tracii about 3 weeks to come up with the song structures. Once, we realized what we needed 11 songs, approximately 60 minutes worth of material, and just have fun with it. And that's exactly what we did. And a little different from the traditional way of doing things, whereas, usually you're a bunch of guys who get together, say, okay, we're going to make a record. So you all get together in a room and you huddle, and it's a crucible, and everyone's got ideas, everyone's contributing, it's changing, the song's changing dramatically as it develops. And then that glorious moment when the song's complete and like, yeah, that's it. And then you'll play it 100 times just because you want to play it 100 times because you love your new song. Mm-hmm. And because you want to get ready for the studio. So that when that red light goes on, you'll be like, yeah, I'm ready. I could do this in my sleep. I can do it on my head. And it's nothing like that. It was completely different. This was all ass backwards. Everything was done. By the time it got to me, the music was all done. The arrangements, everything was all solid. And it's not exactly rocket science. As far as songwriting goes, Tracii knows what I like. I like a 2-bar intro. I like a verse, maybe 2 verses and a chorus, a second verse, a chorus, maybe a bridge. So it's all very mathematical. It's 4 and 8, 2 sets of 8s and another 4, and then maybe 2 or even 4 bars for a bridge, like a middle section, and then either back to another verse or back to a chorus. So that's the template. So there was no need for us to go, oh, I need one more phrase, one more bar so I can put this line. No, it was all structured, and it was great. So very different from like these songs. I've never sung them live.
Right.
Not one. That's not true. We did a live stream about a year ago, just after the time we'd done. We'd written and recorded "Let You Down," and we were so happy with the way it turned out in the way that we did it, which I'll get to. It was really remarkable. So that's the only song of this album that I've sung live.
Yeah.
normally it's completely different. I would have sung every one of these songs 100 times before I even got in the studio. This way, no, this was an album that was recorded remotely. Tracii did his guitar parts. He came up with the ideas in Denmark. I'm doing vocals over here in Vegas. Drums and bass are being put together in LA. Johnny Martin's playing bass. Then we had an issue with our drummer.
Yes.
We could, our touring drummer, Scott Coogan, didn't have recording facilities. So he couldn't get involved in the loop, what was going on. And it was incredibly frustrating because he should have played on it. And if it had been a traditional record, he would have. But he didn't because he didn't have what we needed equipment-wise. So Adam Hamilton did. And Adam was already on board producing and compiling these tracks, these big files, that big high-definition files that we're sending around the world. So he put the drums down last. When I got the songs, they were just drum machines, and it was so good. You know, during the course of working on my vocals, it hit. You know, one day hearing the drum machine, and the next day it's got real drums in it. It's like difference. It's just the shading is the difference in that. It's just incredible. So yeah, a bit of an arse backwards record. Now. I did my vocals, as I said, remotely. I did them alone. I did them here in my house. I built a vocal booth under my stairs, a coat closet, you know, very Harry Potter under there. And just using a basic Dell laptop, an entry-level Focusrite Scarlett interface. No big deal. A decent, okay mic, like a Chinese knockoff kind of a mic, and it sounds fucking great. So anyone, you know, like that's kind of like a bit of information I'm putting out for home recording people that do.
Yeah.
You know, you really don't need. I had no compressor or no 1950s warm tube amps or in fact, I didn't. When I record the vocals, I don't even have any effects. I have no reverb, no delay, nothing. It's dry as a bone. And that's the way I like it. So that if I have a good take and it's a good waveform, a good strong signal, then we put the effects on after. And it sounds good. I mean, I think in many ways, the production on it is every bit, maybe even better. Certainly, I think it might be better than The Missing Piece.
Yeah.
Sonically, but that's just me personally. But this isn't, as you said, it's a very varied album. It's a way more bluesy than the last two.
Yes.
You know, when we talk about the last albums, what we're really talking about is LA Guns 2.0. If you started talking about the third album you'd be talking about Vicious Circle. And no, this is the new, improved Mark II 2.0 LA Guns that started the reunion 5 years ago. And for all intents and purposes, it's the new band with two guys from an original band that was put together in the 80s. But it sounds so completely different. So, you know, when I say, on the, you know, a couple of albums ago, it means like, you know, post reunion as opposed to, well, you know, last century. It was last century, you know, and that was, no matter how you try and shine that, I don't want to be remembered for last century's music. We don't. We've got more to offer than that. And if it wasn't fun and if it wasn't generating the kind of enthusiasm that obviously it is, because I've been nonstop talking about it now for a few weeks, then we wouldn't bother. But we do because it's great and people dig it. And we're just so excited. We were doing great before the pandemic hit. The Devil You Know came out and done its rounds. We'd done the States with it. We were about to take it over to Europe. We were just about to do a celebration of the 30th year of Cocked and Loaded. We were going to do a whole tour of just playing that record. And all our plans, they got thwarted. They got absolutely pissed on from a great height, as did everyone. So yeah, we've been in this holding pattern for 2 years now, and making the very best use of it, making the best use of our time. I think I would have gone crazy if it wasn't for this record. You know, just to sit at home and not know what the fuck's going on. Especially, you know, the ugly part of the lockdown, you know, when there were people lining up outside supermarkets in March. It started to have a kind of a science fiction vibe to it. And I was just like, wow, this is definitely nothing I'd ever seen in my lifetime. Oh, yours, I'm sure.
No.
And a little bit scary. So it was nice to have a bit of music to immerse myself in.
Yeah, and we're all excited about this release, November 12th, again, through Frontiers Records. You talked about the live aspect, and a lot of bands have kind of thrown their hat in the ring as far as touring goes. Starting last spring, you guys kind of waited. Was it just kind of a deal where you wanted to wait to sort of tour behind the album? Or were there any thoughts about getting your feet wet again this summer? Kind of what was the thought process behind kind of waiting to get back on the road?
Well, we made a pact. We said that we weren't going to do any shows until the record dropped. And just for, I don't even know if, even if the pandemic had gone, if we would have changed that. That was just, it just seemed part of our plan. We've been doing things for the last 5 years. We've been doing things very methodically. You know, in the old days, it was just throw the shit against the wall and see what sticks. We've been a lot more strategic in our planning and in our direction and what we want to do and how we want to do it. So no, it was a very conscious decision not to do any shows until the record drops. And I'm glad we didn't, because honestly, I think it's great that guys are back in the saddle and they're working and they're playing music and they're making people happy in their gig. But this thing's not over.
Right. You're right.
It's not over. And you know, like, I just read today, like another band's going home mid-tour because, Bon Jovi for fuck's sake.
That's right. He did.
Money gone involved. It's gone into this Bon Jovi tour. You know, with the logistics of it and employing people and bands and roadies and crews and travel agents, everything all fucked up. It's all for nothing, all completely nothing. And same thing with Kiss.
They just,
you know, was it Paul's right-hand man, the guy that he's had for almost over 20 years?
Yes.
The guy, he's dead. He's not sick. He's dead. He's not fucking coming back. And it's messaging for what? A bit more money. You got more money than you could possibly ever spend in your fucking grandchild's life. So I just do not get why people are pushing their luck. Because, you know, it's one thing if you get it, if John Bon Jovi got it, fair enough. And he's like, okay, well, it was my stupid fault. I did something I shouldn't have done. But what if he got someone else? Like if it was like his, I don't know, his hairdresser or something. And she got sick and she died. I don't want that responsibility. We don't want that. Tracii and I, we do not want that. You know, we're not like, well, yeah, we are white for ourselves, because I certainly no spring chicken. But, you know, we got our shots. So you could, even though, you know, Bon Jovi had his shots, everyone, you know, you can do, nobody would dream of going on tour without getting vaccinated. Well, I hope not anyway. And you're still fucked. So, no hurry at all to get back and until things are right, until it's right. And you know, the shows that we're going to be doing when this record comes out are just local shows. in the LA Vegas area. And then we got the whiskey on New Year's Eve, and that's traditional. You know, we've been doing that now for I don't know, it's like six. I can think of like maybe at least 6 times. And that's a nice way to ease back into it. We got the Monsters of Rock cruise in February, and then there's talk, and the dates are being booked, and it looks pretty solid that we'll be doing a tour with Tom Kiefer. So it'll be Tom Kiefer, LA Guns, and Faster Pussycat. I think it's a great package. So that's the summer plan, but who knows? Who knows? This thing is not over.
Sure.
And until it is, nobody can really make any solid plan.
Yeah, you're right. And I think Ace Frehley and Alice Cooper just completed a tour where they did such stringent protocols that nobody tested positive for the entire month or 2 that they were out. And that was kind of an anomaly because we've seen, like you said, so many cancel. Kiss just canceled their Vegas residency. It's just part of it. But so maybe you guys doing the right thing here and pushing back, and hopefully it can go off without a hitch. And you're right. LA Guns at the Whiskey on New Year's is a tradition unlike any other. I think I saw you guys with Faster Pussycat 6 years ago. This is right before you reformed with Tracii. That was like right at the end of the other era, if you will. But for you, Phil, I mean, you and Tracii, there's a magic that exists there. It's undeniable. Are you happy? I mean, this is the third studio album that you guys have done. You have had a live album come out this year as well. The production that you guys have been able to do is really to be admired in this day and age. I think Frontiers Music, you can correct me if I'm wrong, but they've got to be a big part in this because they do such a great job of showcasing artists, like yourselves. Are you happy with this level of production? Maybe, 3 albums in 5 years. That's unbelievable in this day and age, man. That's really an accomplishment.
Yeah, I suppose so. But, me and Tracii, we're like children of the 70s. We grew up listening to all these records, these bands, these classic bands, Zeppelin, Sabbath, Purple. And it was perfectly normal for them to put an album out every year or 2. That's just the way things are done in the world. You put out an hour's worth of music every 18 months. Then Lizzie did it. It's all part of, once you got signed to a label, it would be required that you would have to give them something on a regular basis. And now, since the demise of the labels, or the labels as we know it, that flew out the window. There's people, bands dealing with sort of indie labels or putting it out themselves. So there isn't that kind of pressure that there was in when it was one big sausage factory. But that is the way. That's our work ethic, and whether it's released or not, to be honest, we're still going to be writing songs. Which it's just what we do. I mean, yeah. It's good that we can write to spec, and we have an album to be delivered. And Traci's expert at that. That never phases him. If they told him we've got to do it in a month, he would, and not fret about it. And, we're confident about our ability. So, it is a little bit of a fuck you to the other bands. I've got to be honest. To be honest, because we're doing it because we can, and I'm not trying to burn anyone else, but no one can touch us. No one can, putting anything out that frequently and that consistently good. So yeah, a little bit of a pat on the back for myself there, and that's not slagging off. I think it might be encouraging, because I know it's hard for bands from the last century to pull their shit into this century and give something new, something that is the style, but make it a bit contemporary, which I think we do without getting stupid and putting drum loops and techno bullshit and any of that, but just sort of make it sound young. I think it sounds like a young band, or it doesn't sound like an old seasoned band of musos. For me.
No.
It's got that enthusiasm, and yeah, as long as we got that, and good songs, of course, and because the songs are so good, I'm so enthusiastic that yeah, I'd like to be a bit of an example.
I believe that's absolutely the case. The album is tremendous. It's called Checkered Past. It comes out November 12th. You can go to lagunsmusic.com right now and pre-order it. I would employ anyone to do it. Phil, it's always such a pleasure catching up, man. It's been a couple years since I've seen you. You guys were in Kansas City a couple years ago. Hopefully we can get some more dates and get this Kiefer tour rolling, and we'll see you coming up.
Right. When did you see us last? Was it at the Iridium?
It was at the Aftershocks in Shawnee, Kansas over here. That would have been in like December of 2018. And
oh, wow, you've got some catching up to do.
I got some catching up to do. And I saw you with Butterside in Tampa at the Brass Mug a few months before that. So I had a couple place. And I love that venue, and I love Butterside. They're with you guys again on these shows. Yeah.
Yeah, that's a dirty little venue, and we played a lot of times, and it's got the vibe, doesn't it?
It sure does. So I'm doing LA Gun Show. Hopefully that happens coming up, Phil. It's always such a pleasure. I know you got some more interviews to do. I know you got some reading to do based on some of the material you got behind you. So catch up on that. It's always a pleasure, man. We will see you soon, and best of luck with the new album, because it really is tremendous.
Thanks, Clint. Appreciate the support. Talk to you soon.
Always,
Bye-bye.
sir. Thank you.